Hey, how you guys doing? I've got a really excellent comment from a viewer that happened to comment on my um, one of my videos. This was upscaling from 1080p to 4K, and this is from Gabriel Nunez, and we're gonna see what he says here. I did the same test for Final Cut Pro 10 and compressor, but one thought crossed my mind. By doing this, aren't we kind of lying to the audience, faking 4K when my shots are 1080p? In my tests, I can see the difference in both. No doubt that YouTube gives some different and nice treatment to our videos when compressing them. What are your thoughts about that? Regards. And we've actually been going back and forth on this about testing and other things. And I don't know if I put it in the video that he's seen. It might have been some other ones. And there's another YouTube channel that did testing just on this, which is the Linus Tech Tips. You can go check that out. And so they did some upreses from 1080p to 4K and uploading it, seeing if it'd make a difference. And indeed it did, as far as from what they're testing seen. And this went into where by upraising it from 1080p to 4K and then uploading it, YouTube actually allows you to watch that 4K in a higher bit rate and bandwidth. And so while it's not 4K, and for some people it may give them actually a better experience. The pictures are actually sharper and a better picture. Not only in that 4K that you upres, but if you go down to the 1080p, you're actually gonna get a much better picture. Because of course in YouTube puts it in different resolutions, and by uploading in 4K and watching it 1080p after that, you're still going to get a much better video than if you would just simply upload it in 1080p alone. And so actually Gabriel responded to that in his own testing, and it's great to confirm that as well. He said, after I told him that, he said, it's definitely worth it. I did some tests and no doubt about it. YouTube processes a 4K video, really 1080 in a better way than 1080 as 1080. I even exported okay, I'm not going to go through the rest of it. But exporting that 1080 as 4K and setting the bitrate at 20,000 gives an amazing results on YouTube. So it's glad for the response and talking with him, because then it kind of confirms my own speculations as well. And so going into it, is it kind of cheating, saying it's 4K when it's actually upres 1080p? Well, if it gives the user a better viewing experience, or even possibly showing it full screen on the 4K television and taking advantage of that, I definitely would say, at least on YouTube, just for those reasons, you're going to get simply a better video. Of course, with 1080p, minimum recommended settings for 1080p on YouTube is, I believe, 8,000 kilobits per second. And for 4K, a minimum is 35,000 kilobits per second. So obviously, just doing that, you're going to, of course, the faster the bit rate, the more better the picture as well. So to me, yeah, I mean, technically it's not really a 4K, but like I said, as long as it's giving the viewer a better user experience. And that kind of even goes into currently what I'm doing, because I'm working as an event videographer. So I'm currently still in 1080p, and I'm even thinking of possibly getting another 1080p camera. But I'm going to make a video on that if I do. I mean, currently, some of the people that I've done events for in the past never asked for 4K. It could happen. I would guess not necessarily the average person. It would be more for corporate or above. That their minimum requirements might be 4K. So I've actually done some testing, DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro 10 on upresing a 1080p picture up to 4K, and I've got some amazing results, even though it's technically a 480p video. Now that's primarily because I'm doing this on a Canon C100, and a Canon C100 already has a 4K sensor. It simply down-reses at 1080p, so you're going to get a much better picture anyway. So up-resing that from the Canon C100, it does give stellar results still. Now, if I had another camera and doing it as has a 1080p sensor, then up-resing to 4K, I may not get as good picture comparing it to a Canon C100, but so considering I've done some testing on upraising a 1080p to 4K in certain instances where if a client asks for it, I can still be relevant. And like I said, I'm going to go all into that if I do get another 1080p camera. For instance, I'm currently using the first generation Mark 1 of the Canon C100. I am wanting to get Canon C100 Mark II, which has much improvement. It's basically using the same sensor and some other things. But I'm going to do a video on that while I'm still sticking with 1080p and the Canon C100 with the upgrades. I'll do a separate video on that. So, great question. I appreciate that, Gabrielle, and he responded back, and it kind of confirms some of the testing that Linus Tech Tips done as well. So thanks for the question, and thanks for watching, and see you later.